The House has spoken. The Senate is watching. Signed into history.
Senate Majority Leader John Thune just threw his weight behind the Save America Act, bringing us to 45 senators demanding proof of citizenship to vote. Meanwhile, a Mexican citizen just got caught serving as mayor in Kansas after illegally voting for years. Democrats are screaming bloody murder about requiring voter ID while foreign nationals are literally running our cities. The story gets worse. Now, here is what is at stake for you and your family. Now, right now, anyone can register to vote by simply claiming they're a citizen, no proof required. We're finding mayors who are foreign nationals, and if that's happening at the local level, what's happening in federal elections? Your vote, the sacred right you have as an American citizen, is being diluted by people who have no legal right to participate in our republic. It's not about immigration. This is about election integrity. When Speaker Johnson says this polls at 90-10, he means 90% of Americans, including legal immigrants, believe only citizens should vote. Yet Democrats, what are they doing? They're fighting tooth and nail. So ask yourself, why are they so desperate to block something this obvious? And you know what else requires proof? Everything meaningful in life. Now, let me tell you about something that's been life-changing for my own family. Now, for years, my wife battled chronic pain and anxiety from her diagnosis, endless doctor's visits, treatments that didn't help. Watching her struggle daily, it broke my heart. Then Jonathan Otto introduced us to red light therapy, and her pain vanished, anxiety lifted. She became herself again. Just like we demand proof of citizenship to protect our elections, we demand proof this therapy worked. And the science? It's overwhelming. Red light therapy penetrates deep into your cells, boosting mitochondrial function, reducing inflammation, accelerating healing. Professional athletes use it. NASA studies it. Now my whole family benefits: better sleep, faster recovery, mental clarity. So while politicians fight over basic common sense like voter ID, you can take control of your health with this proven technology. Red light therapy gives you the proof you need that natural healing works, just like voting integrity. Some solutions are obvious once you see the evidence. Take advantage. The link is in the description and use our promo code. But here's the kicker. The Kansas mayor situation, it's not isolated. A Wisconsin congressman just pointed out the absurdity. You need ID to buy beer, but not to choose who runs the country. Yes, we're at 45 senators backing the SAVE Act, just 5 short of a majority. The momentum is building because stories like Coldwater, Kansas, are waking people up to what is really happening. And here, this is a perfect example. Look at your screen. 32 states already have some form of voter ID. I guess those are all racist states, right? They must be. The 18 states that don't make you show a picture ID are the only states that Kamala Harris actually won in the last election. Think about that for just a moment. Here's the picture. Look at that. States Harris won versus ID requirement. You think there's a coincidence here? I think not. That picture right there tells the entire story. And here it is. We have this. The Arizona Senate audit confirms beyond a shadow of a doubt, since we're going back to 2020, that Trump is legitimate president of the 2020 presidential election. Katie Hobbs inserted 74,243 mail-in ballots in the November 3rd, 2020 election that are tied to individuals. Listen to this.
Example, we have 74,243 mail-in ballots where there is no clear record of them being sent. And just to be clear, here in the state of Arizona, there's EV32s and EV33s. EV32s is supposed to give a record of when a mail-in ballot is sent, and an EV33 is supposed to give a record of when the mail-in ballot is received. And so there should be an equal, there should be more EV32s, more sent out than there are that are received. Specifically with these, we can tie them to a specific individual that was mailed to. And so we have 74,000 where we have them came back from individuals where we don't have a clear indication that they were ever sent out to them.
See, that is why we need to lock this vote down. President Trump says the Save America Act will ensure the security of our elections. If there's one thing that President Trump does and is successful in this term, it's getting this passed, because it will ensure the integrity of our elections. Nothing else matters. We can talk about all the different policies, all the different issues, but if we don't have our vote secured, we do not have a country. Let's be very clear about that.
It's called the Save America Act. We've changed the name. It's the Save America Act, and the Democrats are against it. I heard one of them say, we will stop the Save America Act. No, we're trying to save America. And it has to do with largely voting. And basically, it's got three very simple points. It's got voter ID, photo ID, but voter ID with a photo, right? It's got the confirmation of U.S. citizenship. You have to be a citizen. So you have a vote, you have an ID. That's about a 99% one. And I think 90% with Democrats. Then you have confirmation U.S. citizenship. That's about a 99% one with Republicans, about 86% with Democrats, except Democrat politicians because they cheat on elections. And then you have no mail-in ballots. And there would be no mail-in ballots, very important. You know, we're the only country in the world that does a system like we do. We're the only country in the world that has mail-in ballots. The way we do this is unbelievable. It guarantees cheating. So it's no mail-in ballots with the exception of disability, illness, military, or if you're traveling, you can get an exemption. You know, if you happen to be out of the country for a good reason, you can have an exemption. So with exceptions, it's no mail-in ballots, and that will assure the security of our crooked elections. We have crooked elections.
And of course, it happened during COVID. COVID opened the door to the mail-in ballots, and now they're going to roll it all back. The president's claims set up a perfect contrast. Watch how Democrats respond when confronted with their own voters' overwhelming support for ID requirements. Democrat Representative Yvette Clarke says she doesn't believe polls showing 76% of black Americans support voter ID. But she says it's an attack on civil rights.
Just stated that the SAVE Act is an attack on civil rights and is racist. Could you just explain that further? Because 76% of black Americans support the SAVE Act, according to CNN.
Is that correct?
Yeah.
Well, we find it racist because at the end of the day, it's targeting black communities with a cost burden. We've been through this historically, right? Where we've been prohibited from voting because we didn't know how many bubbles were in a soap bar. And so this is just a new iteration of that, and we're very focused on defeating it.
But if 76% of black Americans support voter ID,
I don't believe that's 76%.
CNN reported it?
Well, that's
possible.
that's possible.
Okay.
But I do not agree with it.
Yeah, it's right in front of your face. The polling data contradiction exposes the gap between Democrat leadership and their base, but mainstream media is about to drop a bombshell that makes this even more damaging. Caroline Levitt, CNN, the bottom line is this: voter ID is not controversial in this country. So why are Democrats in Congress voting against requiring photo ID to vote in federal elections?
What's the racial breakdown on this, right? Because I think a lot of people make the argument that people of color, non-white Americans, have a harder time procuring a photo ID to vote. But even here, take a look here. Favorite photo ID to vote. 85% of white people favor it. 82% of Latino. 76% of black Americans favor it. So the bottom line is this. Voter ID is not controversial in this country. A photo ID to vote is not controversial in this country. It is not controversial by party, and it is not controversial by race. The vast majority of Americans agree with Nicki Minaj that, in fact, you should have a photo ID to be able to vote.
There it is, Congresswoman. There's CNN right there. But, of course, it doesn't fit the narrative. CNN handing Republicans the ultimate talking point. Now watch how GOP lawmakers weaponize this mission against the Democrat resistance. The masks are coming off. Democrats are trying to legalize illegals voting in our elections. New York Rep. Claudia Tenney says this.
New York City Democrats actually put up a bill to allow non-citizens to vote in their elections. Our far left-leaning, and I think you can argue that very easily, Court of Appeals, New York's highest court, actually turned that down and said, no, only citizens can vote in our elections. That's New York state law, and that's our national law. And I just want to make sure that that was your response to Mr. Burchett, to make sure you understood that we've addressed this in New York, and we have established that only citizens can vote. And we want to make sure we secure the ballot and know that citizenship in this country has value.
Citizenship has value. And that is why only citizens should vote. The local voting experiments are the smoking gun Republicans needed. But here is a key senator who could derail everything despite the evidence. Senator Susan Collins of Maine. Of course, Susan Collins is still refusing to commit to vote for the Save America Act. Even now, it's passed the House. Here is the telephone number on your screen. You can give her a call in her office if you'd like, at her public office, 202-224-2523. And keep up the pressure. Let's see what she has to say to Lindell TV.
The Save America Act has passed the House. Can we count on you to support it in the Senate?
I'm looking at it. The House made some significant changes. For example, you would not have to prove citizenship every time you vote. That's a good change. Makes sense to have a requirement the first time when you register, but not every time. I've long supported voter ID. There's some issues on what are federal and what are state. So I'm still this is a work in progress, but I've got to go to the Health Committee.
Thank you.
She's not really there yet. Maybe she'll cross the line. But her resistance does threaten the strategy, but the momentum is building from an unexpected source that could pressure wavering Republicans. Tim Pool posting, I already said I love the SAVE Act. You don't need to sell me on it.
Republicans are trying to make it harder for you to vote. Let me tell you how. The Save America Act would require your passport or your birth certificate to match your current name in order to be able to vote. If y'all got married and changed your name, your birth certificate would not match your current name. Nearly 69 million women in America have a birth certificate that does not match their current name, and therefore 69 million American women would no longer be eligible to vote. These guys say that the Save America Act is needed to prevent undocumented immigrants from voting, but y'all already know that that is not a thing. What this really is, it's a voter suppression bill to keep lawfully voting American citizens from being able to exercise their foundational right to vote. I'm obviously voting no, but I just want you guys to know that this is serious and it's happening right now ahead of the critical 2026 midterm elections.
Yeah, we're going to get that cleaned up real quick, honey. With the Save America Act, Republicans are taking voting rights away from 69 million women. Unbelievable. The grassroots energy, though, it is exploding. When tech millionaires start amplifying Senate voices, you know the pressure campaign is reaching a critical mass. Elon Musk reposted this video of Senator Ted Cruz urging the Senate to pass the Save America Act after the House did their job. Get it done or get primary. That's what MAGA Voice says. Let's see what Elon Musk shared.
Just passed the Save America Act. The Senate needs to take it up and pass it. I'm an original sponsor of the Save America Act. This is common sense legislation. This is legislation that requires proof that you're an American citizen in order to register to vote, and it requires a photo ID to go in and vote. Texas already requires a photo ID. It's an easy, common sense step to avoid voter fraud. The vast majority of Americans support photo ID, and yet Senate Democrats are doing everything they can to block it because they want more voter fraud. How do we take it up and pass it in the Senate? What I am urging my colleagues is that we should use every procedural tool we have to defeat a Democrat filibuster. And in particular, we should nuke what's called the zombie filibuster. Under the Senate rules, everyone has a right to filibuster, to talk as long as they want. Well, we should require them to talk as long as they can. Go back to an old style talking filibuster, like Jimmy Stewart did in Mr. Smith Goes to Washington, like I did in 2013 for 21 hours on the floor of the Senate. We should use the procedural rules to force the Democrats to do a talking filibuster and force them to keep talking and talking and talking. And when they can't talk anymore, then we should pass the Save America Act. That's what I'm urging my colleagues to do. It's what President Trump wants us to do. And
so Elon Musk posting that, signaling this is going mainstream, but wait until you hear how Democrats are defending their position with increasingly desperate arguments. Scott Jennings obliterating Abby Phillip. This is a remarkable moment on CNN. After she said rural white voters and women would not be able to get voter ID. You think they're dumb, don't you? I think they're smart enough to figure out how to vote. This clip has gone viral today. If you haven't seen it, watch.
By the way, it's not. It actually, there's an argument to be made that red state voters, women, poor white voters could be just as.
I know you think they're dumb too, don't you?
Young
I mean,
voters.
that's the thing.
Nobody
I hear these arguments. I've heard Democrats all week long.
No, please don't. No, you listen.
There's the deflection from talking about Donald Trump's racism.
I'm actually
there.
You should be thinking about your constituents or your.
Yeah, I think they're smart enough to figure out how to register to vote. Abby.
Hold on. Most Americans don't have a passport. Many Americans don't have access to their birth certificate. Many women, a majority of women who change their names for marriage have to provide additional proof that they've changed their legal names in order to register to vote.
I have heard Democrats make these same arguments.
Why don't you actually respond to the substance of what I'm saying?
I am, and
as
the substance
opposed
is this.
to making this about something that it's not.
You're saying,
it's not just about
voter ID.
married women, it's also about
black
who has
voters,
access
and rural people are too stupid to figure out how to register to vote.
No, that's not.
That is not what
Democrats have been making this argument all week. It's crazy.
That is not what she said.
Are you saying they can't figure out how to vote?
Let me offer the proof.
Are you saying they can't figure out how to vote?
This is the exact same argument.
It is a fact that a majority of Americans do not have passports. Many Americans, including white people, do not have their original birth certificate or access to it.
You didn't say what you said. Rural.
I would love to offer the proof on this.
Yeah, because that is also relevant. It doesn't matter to me where people live.
I guess I have a little more faith in rural America and married women than you do.
Look, I don't know why you think you're making this about whether you're smart or not.
You're saying that they can't vote, that they can't figure out how to document to register to vote?
Access to documentation of proof of where you were born or proof of citizenship is an additional thing that people
because
will
at
have
one point,
to do.
black people actually weren't even allowed.
It's a barrier.
It is a barrier.
This is exactly.
Yes.
Okay.
But at one point, black
does
people
everybody that you know have their original birth certificate?
Everybody that I know?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean,
but I know where mine is, and I know where my kids are.
There are elderly people in this country who are 80 years old, and they haven't seen their original birth certificate in decades. They would need to provide proof of citizenship.
It is not fear-mongering at all. It's not fear-mongering at all.
That's just a reality.
It's not fear-mongering at all.
Listen.
Yeah, that's the 2-minute version. The 6-minute version is even more spicy. The pundit battles are getting brutal, and Democrat lawmakers are making claims so absurd they're practically writing Republican attack ads. Representative Hillary Scholten says the SAVE Act will prevent 160,000 women from voting in her district because they didn't change their last names on their birth certificates after getting married. You literally don't change your name on your birth certificate, right?
Nearly 70 million married women in this country have changed their last name, but their birth certificates don't reflect that. In Michigan's 3rd district alone, 160,000 women could find themselves unable to register simply because when they got married, they didn't change both their ID and their birth certificate. 160,000 women in my district alone.
Well, maybe it's time for them to update their records. These factual errors from Democrats are piling up fast, but here's the breakthrough. Shows Republican strategy is actually working. Based Mike Lee. I just spoke with Senate Majority Leader John Thune, who has asked me to add him as a co-sponsor of the Save America Act. We're now at 45 baby steps to save America. Also says added Senator Curtis. We're now at 44 baby steps. Current list: Banks, Barrasso, Blackburn, Bozeman, Britt, Budd, Cassidy, Cornyn, Cotton, Kramer, Crapo, Cruz, Curtis, Daines, Ernst, Fisher, Graham, Grassley, Haggerty, Hawley, and more. The co-sponsor count is climbing. Now watch what happens when investigators actually test how easy it is to game the system without ID requirements. The Senate must pass the SAVE Act. An American calls into the Maine DMV. Watch this. To ask if someone with no ID and no social security number can register to vote. Neither are required. Listen to this.
Why the push for voter ID?
Thank you for holding. My name is Barbara. How may I help you?
Hi, I was just calling up. It's the registration form's a little confusing online. I just wanted to get some stuff clarified. I'm trying to help someone register to vote.
Okay.
So on here, to come down and register to vote, can they just bring a utility bill?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, it was so confusing because I'm like, it looks like it's saying I need all these government documentations for them and all this other stuff, and but then it said something about a utility bill.
Right. So we need to. So they, do they have a picture ID?
No, unfortunately, they don't have a picture ID, and then it says something that they can write none or something. I don't know.
So do they have a social security number?
No, unfortunately.
So we need to have two forms of proof of residency. So their utility bill is good. Do they have a bank account, a second utility, a phone bill?
Yeah, so they have two utilities. So they have a phone, like a cell phone bill.
Yeah.
And then I think the other utility, there's like a driver service or something that they use. And that's a utility bill that gets sent to them for like transportation and stuff for their children.
Okay. That should do it.
What process do they have to like there's not going to be like a process where they investigate and try to verify the person that they're a U.S. citizen, right? He's just a little nervous. He just doesn't want to get hit with ICE or something like that.
I can understand that. So it does go to the Secretary of State, but it's not an in-depth. It's not a background check, no.
Okay, and so if he just provides utility bills, that information, it'll be like photocopied and then sent to the Secretary of State?
No, we don't even need that. We'll just enter the stuff in the computer, and that's what goes over.
Oh, okay.
We need to see it here.
So there's no mechanism in which there's like, it's not, and so it's not really that secure, is it?
It is secure, but it's not super in-depth. So it doesn't go anywhere outside of from my office to their office.
Okay, and there's no mechanism in which they verify U.S. citizenship, right?
Not that I know of.
Okay. So the next time I travel, since it's identification, it's proof of residency, I wonder if I can just use my utility bill. I'm going to take my PGE bill with me next week when I travel and see if that'll work. Let's just show it to them. Hey, here's my ID. I guarantee you they're going to laugh at me, but,
Yeah. I feel the same way, honey. This real-world testing exposing the loopholes Republicans have been warning about, GOP lawmakers have the perfect analogy to drive the point home. Spot on from Representative Brian Steele.
He is spot on. It's radical that the Democrats don't want to require photo identification when individuals come to vote. I've often reflect back on a debate that I had here in the House of Representatives about photo identification. I flew home to my home state of Wisconsin, went to buy a six-pack of beer. The clerk recognized me, asked for my ID, confirmed it, and then I was allowed to buy the beer. I just think it's nuts that we protect our beer more than our ballots in jurisdictions across this country. It's commonplace that individuals use photo identification in all aspects of their lives, and it's time we require that in all 50 states.
All right, so let me...
That we protect our beer more than our ballots. The beer versus ballots comparison is going viral, and the evidence keeps mounting that the system is fundamentally broken. Tim Young writes, there must be thousands of illegals voting in our elections. This is an insane story. Mayor charged.
The mayor of Coldwater accused of election fraud. The charges come hours after he secured a second term in office. Attorney General Chris Kobach charged Mayor Jose Joe Ceballos with 6 felonies, 3 counts each of voting without being qualified and election perjury. Kobach claims Ceballos is lawfully living in the U.S. but is a citizen of Mexico, making him ineligible to vote. The AG alleges the mayor illegally cast ballots in the August 2024 primary and November 2022 and 2023 general elections.
In large part, our system right now is based on trust. Trust that when the person signed the registration or signs the poll books saying that he's a qualified elector or that he is a United States citizen, that the person is telling the truth.
We reached out to Mayor Ceballos for comment, but have not heard back yet. The Coldwater City Council, though, released a statement on social media saying the mayor called them in for a special meeting over the noon hour to, quote, discuss recent events that have transpired with the Kansas Attorney General's office. While the recent allegations involving the mayor are understandably concerning, we will allow the proper legal process to take its course before making any further comments, unquote. Ceballos is expected to be in court for his first appearance on December 3rd.
December 3rd. The mayor of Coldwater revealed to be a foreign national who not only got elected while not being a citizen, but also voting in federal and state elections since at least 2022. So the anecdotal evidence is overwhelming, but here's the hard numbers that show Republicans are approaching a major legislative victory. SAVE Act surging. Thune jumps on board victory lap time. Senate Majority Leader John Thune just signed on as a co-sponsor of the Save America Act per Mike Lee. This pushes the total to 45 senators backing the bill to stop non-citizen voting. Here's John Thune.
Should non-citizens be voting in American elections? The answer is no. And the Democrats have taken a hard position that it's okay. Now, the law already prevents that, but if that's true, then why wouldn't we want to put into law something that would require when you go to vote that you prove you are a United States citizen? And that's all the SAVE Act does. And so, you know, they can cry and lament this actually being voted on, but I'd be hard-pressed to have to defend a position that doesn't believe that you have to be an American citizen to vote in an American election.
I'll finish off with the words of Speaker Mike Johnson defending the SAVE Act. This is from yesterday, Leader Thune. Listen.
The SAVE Act just simply says you have to have verification of citizenship to register to vote. That's about a 90-10 issue on many of the polls in this country. And we're going to enhance it by what the president calls the Save America Act. And so it would be proof of citizenship to register to vote and voter ID, which is also about an 80 or 90% issue on the polling nationwide.
Nothing going on Capitol Hill these days. Leader Thune, I'll give you a final thought on all of it.
Well, I honestly, you know, this right now, their political base is demanding they fight with anything that President Trump wants. It is Trump derangement syndrome. It is on steroids around here these days, and even logical, commonsensical things like ensuring that if you're going to vote in an American election, you ought to be an American citizen, they're going to just instinctively oppose. So that's what we're up against, but we're going to do our best in spite of that to make sure that our government is funded and that we're putting policies in place that keep the American people safer and more prosperous.
To be clear, Leader, it does sound like you're saying that what you're describing as Trump derangement syndrome is at the highest you've seen it. So my last question to you is just, do you truly believe that the party, Democrats, would stand for a complete shutdown of DHS?
I think it's going to be very hard to defend.
Well, that's for another segment. So we have this. We have the mayor of Coldwater didn't just vote illegally. He won office twice while being a Mexican citizen. He's been making decisions for American taxpayers while having zero legal right to participate in our system. If this can happen in small town Kansas, imagine what's happening in major cities with millions of voters. And this is why Trump's Save America Act matters. It's really not complicated. Prove you're a citizen before you vote. The fact that Democrats oppose this so viciously, it tells you everything about their real agenda. They know they're losing the American people on policy, so they need to change the electorate. 45 senators are standing up for election integrity. We only need 5 more. Every legal vote matters, and every illegal vote cancels out a citizen's voice. The Kansas mayor story proves that the system is broken, but the SAVE Act momentum shows that we can fix it. Simple question. Should only American citizens vote in American elections? Let me know in the comments, and check out the Next News merch shop to show your support for election integrity.
The system controls information. Information control is power. I want you to see this. Truth only survives together. They don't want this shared. Share this now.